Meeting to order, if you would please rise as we do the invocation and the pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. The kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Before we have a seat tonight, I would ask you to stand with me in a moment of silence for Ms. Joyce Miller. Ms. Joyce Miller worked for us in the Hendry County Food Services Department from 1991, and she retired in 2009. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Superintendent, it looks like we have a presentation this evening.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This evening we are blessed to have the teachers of our Student Services Department, and they're based on a previous board request, I believe. They have put together some overview of some MTSS and PBIS services that we do for our students. And so if you have the presentation, or you can follow along there. And so with that in mind, I'll turn it over to Ms. White and Ms. Ainsley.
All right, I'm going to set my timer right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about positive behavior interventions and supports. And it's not a program. A lot of times it's thought of as a like one strategy or a program, but it integrates many different strategies. It is part of the MTSS process, and so that multi-tiered systems of supports. And it uses data to determine effectiveness of interventions to change behavior. And that's our goal, is to focus on what behaviors we can change. It does utilize evidence-based practices, and it's accessible to all of our students. So under that MTSS umbrella, we have RTI, which is response to intervention, which focuses on academic interventions for students who are not on grade level content and needing extra support. But when we talk about the behavioral side or social emotional learning, we're looking at positive behavior interventions and supports, and that falls under that same framework of MTSS. So we do use that three-tiered approach. Again, you'll see on the left side academic, but on the right side our behavioral systems. The universal is tier 1, and that is where we're looking at all school-wide expectations for behavior, what we are expecting students to do in a day-to-day from location to location on a school campus, including in their classroom, what that looks like in classroom management, how teachers are supporting appropriate behaviors in the classroom and across school. Relationships, building rapport with students, teaching expectations and routines, practicing those, teaching social skills, looking at school-wide recognition. And so at a lot of our schools, they'll have parties and celebrations, and you can access these things based on your positive behaviors. So each school will talk about their action plans, and I'll give you some ideas of what that looks like. But this universal tier is for everyone, okay? We do have students with behavioral, social, emotional challenges that need more targeted intervention, and that's tier 2. And that is where they might be receiving small group instruction in these areas of social skills, check-in, check-out, mentoring. There may be increased parent involvement where we're asking more parent support in helping us with those initiatives for student behavior. And again, making data-based decisions and monitoring data through our interventions. And then the top tier, tier 3, is where we're looking at students who have significant behavior challenges that might need a functional behavior assessment, a behavior intervention plan, and a very individualized system of reinforcement. We do have PBIS teams on campuses that consist of teachers, administrators, counselors, different grade levels, office staff included sometimes. Custodial staff is on some of our teams at some of our schools. They develop a plan for their school that is specific to the needs of that school. They look at what those school-wide expectations need to be, and they develop goals that they want to target for increasing student-appropriate behavior. So most of our schools are looking at attendance, referrals, reducing those referrals, and a GPA that's on track for graduation, right? That's our goal. Specific interventions that they may want to put in place, such as reinforcement systems. Each school does have a behavior flow chart for accountability that talks about how they manage behaviors. What is a classroom managed behavior versus what is an office managed behavior? And I'll show you examples of those. To the Tiger standard, that's the CHS this year, they focused on attendance, 90%, no out-of-school suspensions, no more than 2 referrals, and a minimum of 2.0 GPA. And they made it tied to going to homecoming, going to prom, being able to attend grad bash, and some other privileges like that throughout the year.
At each school, the school sets school-wide expectations. These are a few examples of secondary, Lavelle Middle School, Clewiston High School, and then UES with their acronyms. There's supposed to be something that is easy for students and staff to know, say, and easily follow the expectations. And we do, as a district team, go through and do a walkthrough each year with those schools, every school. We interview students and staff members to see if they're able to say those expectations, tell us how they're connected to any rewards or incentives that they have, and just get a vibe for how it's going at the school level. Those school level teams meet and review and collect data as well, which one I was speaking about previously.
They do train their staff on these expectations as they come in each school year. They also expect the staff then to train on these concepts every day in their classrooms. You'll see these posters in their rooms. They're talking about these expected behaviors. If they need to redirect a behavior, they're referring to those. That's part of that teaching component that they use. And then also parents. So at LMS, they do a big 6th graders coming in, parent meeting. They talk about their PBIS initiatives because we want to make sure parents are on board as well. These are just examples of those expectations as they change at UES. What does it look like in the classroom versus the bus versus recess versus cafeteria? This is an example of our classroom managed behaviors versus administrator managed behaviors. So each school has a flow chart. It helps teachers understand these are things that I should be doing and redirecting and working with this student in my classroom versus when do I send a student out to the office for a different consequence or redirection. There are also counselor managed behaviors. At UES, they also have the to-do things and restorative practices, and they provide resources for their teachers and links of different activities and things they can do. This is an example of LMS and the flowchart that they use for behavior redirection. Again, what is teacher managed on the left column versus what is something that goes to the office level. What are the action steps you should do and what are the consequences that should be in place for that?
So each of the school teams that we spoke about, they meet they're meeting monthly, and then they meet with us as well as a district level team. We come together and plan, review their plans throughout the year. And then we were super excited because this past year we had 2 gold level schools, Eastside and LMS, and as you can see, that means that they have to turn in 3 different types of data at the end of the year to the PBIS project. Their Tier 1 fidelity was in place, low discipline rates, no significantly disproportionate discipline data, and sustained Tier 1 implementation outcomes for 2 years. So that means they're really working on those solid systems.
And our very last slide, Mr. Swindle, focuses on data review and decision making. And if this is over the past 5 years. Looking at the graph on the left is Up the Grove Elementary, and on the right is LaBelle Middle School. And when we really started to really hone in and focus on our school teams and their action plans and having them use the data to write their plans, what are we going to target, how are we going to target that, what's working, what's not working, and what do we change? You can see we've had a drastic decrease, and this is just in our referral data, and which is a goal at both of those schools. That's all I have for today. You're welcome. I have 47 seconds. Are there any questions?
I do have some questions and I have some comments. So after the comments that I made that inspired this presentation today, I had people reach out to me, and I appreciate folks who reach out to me to share their perspective and tell me what I need to hear, not necessarily what I want to hear. And so, you know, I feel like there is pushback in it, and like when I look pushback on like what I'm hearing here, it all looks good, but how does it actually like play out in the day to day? And what you're hearing time and time again, like I'm looking at the vacancies of staff. We're looking at a statewide and nationwide teacher shortage, and what they say every single time is behaviors. Every single time. And so, you know, I try to look at this and say, is this a system, is this something that I would want to have to work and function under? And I promise you, that little LMS thing, that if you brought that to me, I'd be like, I'm not babysitting your kid, you take your flow chart home. Like, I'm not doing this. And I feel like this is just another one of the programs that we have out there to create a data set. And I don't know if the data is actually legitimate. And what I'm going to say here is some of the things that I've heard is that people are using paper referrals to not log them into Focus.
There is a consult versus a referral, and at elementary level, they do use a consult process. Those are documented as well. What they consider a consult versus a referral. We have a lot of conversations around that. I go to the elementary principal meetings and we talk through what that looks like. But they are documented. It's just documented differently.
I feel sorry for teachers who have to work under these discipline flow charts, because if you cuss me out, it's over. Like, we don't talk to each other that way in here, and like I sure wouldn't be listening to that from a child. And the disruption, and I hate to like reference social media, but I saw the best Facebook reel, and I mean it resonated so deeply with me. It was a teacher who was talking about protecting the learning environment, and they said, I know that everybody agrees that the importance of the learning environment without disruptive students and that without disruptions, especially when the standardized tests come around. Because when those kids start cutting up or disruptive in that classroom, they'll snatch those kids out to protect that testing and learning environment of the other students when we're testing. But we're not protecting that environment in that same manner leading up to the instruction, to the testing. And I mean, that resonates. It's what we're hearing. I'm not trying to be ugly or combative, but like we're looking at a crisis out here with people who don't want to come and teach, and it has a tremendous amount to do with the behavior. And so, I mean, I appreciate, you know, you take the time to put this all together. It's all good information, but you know, when I'm looking at the overall data, not just Hendry, I'm not picking on Hendry County. Like I'll beef with PBIS across the whole state. Like I got it for all 67 counties. But I don't know if it's like serving our kids well. Like when we're talking about recognition, you know, building up, you know, we have to do all this recognition. And when we get out here in the real world, you don't get recognition. Like there's an expectation of you, and you either do it or you don't have a job or you end up in jail and I don't know if what we're doing right now is setting up our kids for future success. That's just my humble opinion.
Can I add a little bit to that?
Yes, please.
So I like to think that it's a combination thereof. The positive behavior and interventions are a needed thing. Unfortunately, a lot of kids do not get any kind of positive reinforcement at home or a carrot to behave or do good in grades or whatever that may be. And that does serve some of these kids very well for motivation reasons. The other part about that is, remember that one of the caveats to me being able to stay where I am is I'm not going to do it if I'm having teachers getting cussed out. We're not going to put up with that behavior in this school system. A bus driver, a teacher, admin, we just don't do that. And so there's a combination thereof. There's a lot of positive things, but we also don't tolerate that behavior. I've got 4 unforgivables and that every principal knows, and I've told them very well that you better not let a teacher sit there and get cussed out and that student gets sent back to class after they've had time to cool off, you know, or think about it or whatever. We don't do that. We're not perfect. Kids by nature have underdeveloped brains that make irrational decisions and thoughts and say things they shouldn't, right? And so we deal with that, but I have to believe, that even though there are one-offs and sometimes it may happen, that our teams are very good at dealing with it and protecting our learning and protecting our teachers with regard to not letting that happen. In fact, just recently we had a teacher that had been in New York, went to Lee County for 6 or 8 years, come to Hendry and decided they were going to retire and I'm going to work one more year, and they're at LaBelle Middle School now. And he said, I had forgotten that it could be fun to teach again in an environment with teenagers, especially middle schoolers. And so I have to think that what we're doing, again, I don't think we're perfect at anything we do, and it could use improvement, but I think that we have a pretty doggone good environment and a good hodgepodge of positive rewards as well as the hammer when it's needed. Yep.
Well, right here in this presentation, it says a classroom managed behavior is inappropriate language, name calling, insults, use of vulgar and mean language. Like, this is what we're telling our teachers. And if, just kind of like when you are in administration and you get a resume and you're looking at that, like that's what's in writing, that your contract's in writing, like this is in writing. And when you're looking at this, I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I will go find another profession to engage in.
Well, and there's a lot of science, but I could present for 20 hours, but I only have that
No,
many.
no.
Because it's based on the science of applied behavior analysis, and it is human behavior and how it's shaped, and that is through reinforcement and through punishment. And those two things don't work alone, they work together. And so I could go on and I will not. But it is based on that science. It's not just about feelings or what we, it really is based on making interventions that are evidence-based and based on that science and using the data to support change. And we do look at data to make those decisions. We also have a lot of new teachers that are not teacher trained, right? They didn't go through that. They're in a business degree and the structure of this tier 1 is teaching them how to do classroom management. They don't have those basic skills.
60% of the hires, up until this year at least.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. White. Any further questions? Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to citizen comment. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any citizen comment?
Have none at this time.
No citizen comment. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything in the consent agenda that any board member would like to pull?
I have, we are going to pull DD. It will pull and, I'm sorry? Yes, item DD, architectural grace design contract. We will bring that back to you next month.
Okay.
The other one, if y'all don't have any others, I've got one other that I don't need to pull, but I just want to explain a little bit. But I'll wait and see if anybody has anything else to pull.
Any board member have anything they'd like to pull? No? All right, what would you like?
The other one was item Q, and item Q is the fleet risk sharing for Hendry County School District. When we decided to go into the self-insured fleet program, the path that we voted on and agreed to all along was to go into the self-insured and then ultimately enter risk sharing. That was 2 years and 4 months ago that we did that, 2 years and 5 months ago that we decided to do that. In the 2 years that we've been in fleet on a singularly self-insured plan has been incredibly great for our school district and for our business and for our ability to serve our employees. It was such a great experience, and our district performed so well that we are entering into the risk-sharing pool now. We are going to be one of the 4 inaugural districts that's going to enter risk-sharing for Florida, and it's going to be with Charlotte, Brevard, and Hendry, Charlotte, Brevard, and Polk County. We're going to be the 4. And we will be fully risk sharing by summertime, which would be that end of June era. And the way to think about it is right now we've got around 700 to 750 souls or so in our insurance. We're going to have north of 20,000. We're going to be in a pool with north of 20,000 people. So what happens is equate it to a small kiddie pool. When you throw a rock in it, it makes a splash. You throw that same rock into an ocean, you don't even notice the splash. And so right now, another way to think about it numerically, we have 4 people today. 4 people, let this sink in with you. 4 folks that work for Hendry County School District derives 52% of our insurance expenses. That's a lot. And so we're gonna, now when we spread those 4 people out amongst 20,000 others, then what's gonna happen, rather than 2 or 3 of them having really high cost month and costing us a lot of money, and then it'll come back normal and then it won't be so bad. We have a lot of peaks and valleys because of between 4 and 8 people every year. What'll happen is when you're spread amongst a lot of people, that's more of a flat line. You have very little movement from month to month to month. So entering risk sharing adds stability to what we're paying in health insurance for our school district. And so this is going to be another phenomenal opportunity for us to stabilize and maintain and have a very reliable expense with our health insurance. And then in return, allow us to do some other things that's going to be very beneficial for our employees as well, which I'll come back and talk to you at the end of the meeting about. So I just want to make sure you knew that's what that was. We agreed to do this 2.5 years ago. I'm just letting you know that we're officially into the risk sharing, one of the inaugural districts to be doing that. And I was asked to be on the board for the Florida risk sharing pool, and I've got to go to Nashville, Tennessee to the first inaugural risk sharing meeting that's going to take place in middle of June. So I'll be representing Hendry County and the state of Florida there on our behalf. So just kind of giving y'all an update on that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the only thing that, and I spoke with Mr. Deason and Mr. Swindle already about it briefly. I would like for you guys to give us an update. I had a question about the vehicle, the Suburban that LHS Ag Department is purchasing. I'd just like to get a little clarification on that. It was $2,000 difference on the one that they're recommending versus the cheapest one. I'm just kind of curious about why. I mean, I'm not looking that they need a vehicle, just would like to make sure that we get that clarity.
Okay.
To the,
I'm 99% clear. I'm 99% confident that the reason was the availability. That the one that was at, I believe, Gilbert is available today, and the other one was going to be north of 6 months before it could be purchased. So they decided to go ahead and get the one that was available. But I will clarify that.
Yeah, if you'll clarify that.
Yep.
That's the only thing I have. I just want to make sure we get that clarified.
Okay.
Appreciate that. So, hearing nobody else that has anything they want to move, Mr. Superintendent, do we have your recommendation on the consent agenda, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I recommend approval of the consent agenda as presented, minus item DD.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sambright, seconded by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Well, tremendous amount of work right there.
It was. Yeah, it was.
So, all right, we'll move on to action item 5A, new personnel allocation request. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, to give you a little bit of context, in a lot of this is information that we just have we have a hard time digesting. Whatever COVID did to the psyche of humans in our country and parenting, we don't know. The importance of coming to school and to a brick and mortar school has definitely taken, a sharp decline, even for students that are in school. Is really the ones I'm referring to. And then, and so for whatever reason, behaviors of students over the last 5 years has just gotten to a different level than we've ever seen it. And I'm talking more specific about littles, and not that it's not all the way across the board, but the littles come to us and oftentimes, to coin Mrs. White's term, in a feral condition. And so we are restructuring where a said teacher and the administrators have to spend a lot of time on just a handful of kids just because of their behaviors and lack of behavioral systems, that they've come to us. We're having to put some behavior techs in place. And so Ms. White has restructured some of her department to add behavior techs, or I believe it's going to be one on every campus, right?
We will have a total of 10, and the focus will be the elementary, the pre-K, elementary, middle, and then supporting high school. We don't have those extreme behaviors.
Okay, got it. So the purpose of this is to add layers of support so that those students get the support they need in the way they need it, and the administrators of the school can administrate the school rather than spending hours a day, having to deal with behavioral issues, tantrums, or whatever that may be. So unless you have any questions about that, I recommend approval of action item 5A.
Motion by Ms. Nelson, seconded by Reverend Brown. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for acknowledging the behavior challenges that our teachers are facing in our classrooms every day. Secondly, is this going to be require any additional income or any additional funding, or is this going to be like neutral?
She's using grant money.
Well, it's from where we had some decrease in our classroom sizes for pre-K. We've reduced those, and we have the funding there, so it's from the grants
Yeah.
that we're funding those sources.
It's relative, it's
There's no- it's
a
a
cost
neutral.
neutral, if that's what you mean.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I know that one of the things I've learned over the years is any kind of money that we spend out of general funds into ESE, you don't get to walk that back.
Correct.
And so none of this is coming from additional general funds.
It's under general ESC.
Okay, but.
Serving
It stays the same.
Serving
Stay the
yes,
same,
it's the
okay,
same.
no, all right,
It's
There's no decrease to the funding.
okay. That's one more question.
So will these be interventions? You know, we have tiered programs. Are these people, are they going to be identified as interventionalists, sort of?
So, yeah, we have that functioning now. We have
Yes.
5 RBTs, and so they're responding a lot to crisis intervention situations. Sometimes they are providing direct therapy services for early childhood for our students who can't follow simple one-step directions, have extreme behaviors, that they're just learning how to be in a classroom or be at school. So they function in different ways. Sometimes it's skill acquisition and teaching and training some of those new learning behaviors. But a lot of their responding is supporting in classrooms, removing students sometimes who are following functional behavior assessment, behavior intervention plan protocols. And so they're there to help implement that and help assist the staff in crisis intervention with students with significant behaviors.
So if a student is taken out of the classroom, that person goes with them
Yes.
to like,
Sometimes a sensory room to like do some de-escalation and things like that. Sometimes it's to the office area to work through an academic task and try to get them back on task, or both of those things may be occurring.
there'd be a multitude of things they can be doing. Thank you.
And sometimes it's managed we're in the setting where, we're trying to redirect and get them back
Sure.
on task. Yeah.
Just being together in the classroom.
And they are required to have 40 hours of behavioral training, and they're registered through the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. So even if we don't have them initially, we try to help work towards that so that they're all registered and they all have that same training. And they're supervised by the behavior analysts.
How, or do you think we're gonna be able to fill all these positions?
I have already a lot of interest. We had a position open and we had lots of applicants who were already registered. It's become more familiar, more people have become registered. They've been working in clinical settings though, so not as many opportunities in the school environment, but we have had strong candidates.
Okay, so
We are hopeful.
on our consent agenda, we agreed to increase the presence learning, which is speech therapy. So it's like, why are we struggling to get speech therapists, but not struggling to get behavior therapists?
The speech and language pathologists are a much higher level certification, it's master's level, and they have to be credentialed through a body, the ASCA. And the registered behavior tech is high school diploma. They have to have 40 hours of the behavior specific training and testing, and we provide that training through our behavior analyst team. But it's it's not a same certification level.
How much would it be entry, somebody for a behavior tech, how much would they make like first year?
18 to $20 an hour, somewhere in that range, where an SLP is typically much higher.
Are you asking because you want to apply? 'Cause
Yeah, we're always.
Sir, you already know where I'm standing at on behavior, and I'm getting a little more patient, and I would be a liability. I'm just gonna tell you right now, be honest with you. You know who raised me, so that probably wouldn't bode well for PBIS.
Okay. Any further discussion?
But how physical can will they be getting with the students?
We are, all of our staff that work in our self-contained varying exceptionality classrooms are certified in what's called crisis prevention and intervention training. There are physical holds that can occur and are approved holds for students who may need to be physically managed. All the RBTs are also trained in that and supervised again by the behavior analyst who, those would be written specifically into a student's behavior intervention plan. And it would be outlined, when do we get to that point? How do we, it's to keep the student safe and the other students or staff safe.
It sounded going to be not a real easy job.
It is not a real easy job, no sir. It's a very rewarding job. If you like behavior, which I do.
Well, I have been unofficially, when I've done vacation Bible school, been in that position at the church, and it was tough.
It's tough. It is. The RBTs are there to like help coach and work with the staff in the classroom as an extra support, and they're more trained on that plan and the strategies. They're more comfortable implementing those, and it just helps support the teachers and the staff when they're in those crisis situations.
Will the teacher training be continual?
Yes.
The reason I ask is I've been in a position where I've had to deal with students, but I was not properly trained. I was told and shown the policies, but actually going through was difficult.
We do training, and then they coach in those classrooms and model and are there with the teachers, and then annually we do refresher training as well.
We have a lot of people that could do it on the paper, but they couldn't do it in the classroom.
Yes, sir, we monitor that. And to the point that I will come out myself personally and assist, and I've offered trainings, I will coach them specifically if we need to. And I've been a CPI trainer for 18 years.
My biggest help was when I learned how to de-escalate before we even get there to that.
That's exactly right, and that's part of that training is verbal de-escalation. So we don't ever want to go physical hands-on with the student if we don't have to, for sure.
And learn how to see that coming.
That's right.
Yeah, if you don't see it coming, sometimes it can be.
Absolutely.
Yes. Wow.
I would just like it on the record that I'm answering questions.
No, I paused your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Joe.
All right, very good. Okay. We will, we have no further discussion? No? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next item of business is a new personnel allocation request for an ESC department staffing specialist. The backup documentation is presented if you have any questions. If not, I recommend approval of action item 5B.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Nelson, seconded by. That's Cassandra. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So, how do we assign staffing specialists?
We look at the caseload numbers at each school and the number of meetings that they are having to hold. It varies depending on the school. They're running meetings anywhere from 150 to 250 meetings, in addition to like the paperwork process that follows all of that. So we try to even it out between the specialists so that they are pretty even. So if it's a larger school or a larger case number at a school, there may be one ESC specialist assigned. Some schools we've had to place 2 ESC specialists at. Sometimes they will split and have 2 schools, because the numbers are lower at a school.
So like you don't really get assigned to a school, you have to be willing to move around.
You do get assigned for that year. At times, we do move people based on personality sometimes, what's a better fit or their background. Like if you're stronger in elementary versus secondary, we will place accordingly. But it can change. It's subject to change. You're not always going to be at the same school for the next 5 years or whatever.
And it's important to note too that the students that we've taken in over the past couple of years, a incredibly large percentage of them have high needs and have a lot of meetings, and so we're not just wanting to add people, but our staff just cannot keep up with the volume.
Yeah, we had not added one for 14 years.
So I don't have a problem with adding, because, I mean, I understand, like, I've been talking about the tsunami that has been building, and now we're seeing it washing ashore. But I had somebody reach out to me who was interested in taking one of these jobs, and they said the only thing that would hold them back from doing so was saying that if they had to live in LaBelle and come to Clewiston.
Yes.
And then they said that their mileage, like, would not be reimbursed. And they're like, I don't want to pay
Yeah.
like that to come to school if I'm not going to be assigned to school and stay at that school.
Yeah, I can't, we don't have enough DSE specialists for me to keep people sometimes on one side or the other. I have staff that may serve LES and West Side, you know. They go 2 days here, 3 days there, or vice versa. None of our staff is paid mileage for if they start at a school and they end at that school. Like if their work day is in Clewiston that day, they're not, that's where they show up, that's where they end. They are the paid mileage if they have to go in the middle of that day, come over to LaBelle for something, a meeting, and come back, that mileage is reimbursed.
Okay, so what if, let's say you assign me to West Side and you decide I'm a better fit for LMS partially through the year?
Yeah,
Do I get paid to drive from my home to Clewiston to LMS after that?
no.
Okay.
Same as if you're a teacher, you know, if you decided to work on one side of the district or the other.
I have a psychologist that drives from Port Charlotte. I don't pay her mileage to come to LaBelle, right? It's the same idea, like wherever you start your day.
Yeah, but like if I lived in Clewiston, and then I'm gonna be the staffing specialist at West Side, but then you decide, you know, I need to go to LMS in the middle of the year, but you've already assigned me, like I agreed to work at West Side, but now you got me driving across the county, so I still don't get it.
Right. And they're told up front that that is the scenario and it could happen. I try very hard to keep it, you know, where people are on their side. It just depends on who we have and what the needs are.
And I'm just giving some feedback here, like we got this $5 gallon of gas, and people up there said it's, you know, cost prohibitive. That's all I got.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is action item 5C. It's for a full-time Medicare payroll analyst. This is the person that keeps up with all of the expenses and reimbursements from Medicare. Again, the backup documentation is listed. Unless you have questions, I recommend approval of action item 5C as presented.
I have a question.
Go ahead. So, ask your questions.
Okay, so we had a contract for years doing this. Why are we leaving our contract and moving to a full-time employee?
This is a Mr. Adams department. I don't know that we've had a contractor doing this for a while.
Haven't we been getting money from Medicaid for a long time to a district?
Oh, yeah.
But it was handled, the paperwork was handled through a contract, wasn't it? Through an outside company?
We have a software platform that we utilize to help facilitate that, but the entry is done in-house. And then the payroll associated with the Medicaid account is also done in-house. This position was originally part-time. The workload has required a full-time position.
Okay, thank you.
It's more of a data entry type.
There it is. Exactly how we run payroll, this is doing it just for the Medicaid funds.
I will say we've increased our Medicaid funding because we're billing more, we have more related
Well, that's
services.
what I thought.
So they're having more workload from that, like we've increased our.
Well, I thought our Medicaid, a lot of our students meet that criteria.
Yes, we have.
Thank you.
Now we have a motion by Reverend Brown. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item 5D, Mr. Superintendent.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sanchez, I believe, is going to come forward and talk to us real quickly. Essentially, action item 5D deals with an athletic fee proposal. We are in an environment where our expenses continually rise, and everything from The referees really are one of the biggest expenses that we have, travel expenses, administrative type expenses. And so to offset those, most of the sports do either fundraisers of their own. We do supplement some money from the board to them. And even though we've increased that in the last couple of years, it still nowhere near covers the exorbitant expense that they have. And so statewide, we've been talking about this, school boards, State Department of Education, and superintendents, and we've been trying to come up with different types of ways to offset that. And this is something that's going on pretty much statewide, is how do we be fair, not punitive, but fair to everyone. And so what we've come up with is just an across-the-board athletic fee for students that play sports. So having said that, I'll let Mr. Sanchez walk through the presentation with you if you have any questions for him.
Yeah, in a nutshell, right, we're seeing a trifecta of rising costs associated with official payments. We're also seeing shrinking revenue at the gate, right, and rising costs for equipment related to those athletic teams. And so to help offset those three things, our proposal is that we assess a $50 fee, $50 contribution for the year for each student athlete. If a household has more than two or more, the fee would be capped at $75 for the individual school. So we feel that it's a reasonable fee, and we feel that it would be tremendous support for each school's athletic program if that fee, if you would be supportive of that fee.
What if I can't afford it? What if I have children at home and I do not have $50 to give for fees?
Great question. We do have a waiver process for that, so that no student would be denied the ability to participate in an athletic team because of lack or inability to pay the fee. We realize that athletics and participation in athletics is a huge lever to getting kids to do the things that we want them to do academically that will be beneficial for them. And this fee is in no way, shape, or form intended to inhibit that participation.
Will there any further requirements be of a parent?
Yeah, so in order to, part of the waiver fee will require parents or students to participate and volunteer in the concession stands, give back to the athletic program.
What if I have two children, well, I'm sorry, my son plays football and baseball? Do I have to pay $50 per sport?
No, it's only $50 for the year for one sport. If you have two students, and let's say both of your students play football and baseball, it's $75.
Who vets the waivers?
The waivers will be vetted by the school athletic director and the school principal.
And how does what's the criteria? I mean, is there a financial level that they say that you're under poverty level? How do they?
No, the waiver's going to be a very straightforward, simple process. We just need a statement from the family that says that they are not, well, we're not going to verify income, we're not going to go into those debts.
And you're gonna have them sort of work it out in a refreshment stand or something like.
Correct.
Yes.
So, who's good? I'm sorry?
Concession stand, is it mandatory that each?
They're gonna have to give some time, right? And so concession stand or something, if there's some other way that they can give, I'm sure they'll work that out with them.
What if this student in private school wants to do sports?
$50 per student.
Yeah, this fee would be for all students, regardless whether homeschool, private school, or whatever.
So I think we got a family cap at 75. So that means if I have 2 kids or 3 kids or 6 kids, it makes no difference. $75 is all I'll ever pay.
Yes, sir, as long as you're in the same school, right? If you have a student at the middle school and a student at the high school, then you can pay $50 to the middle school athletic program.
But I still have 2 kids in your school system. I don't think that's right.
We can definitely modify that.
I mean, that's what you're going to hear. I will just about guarantee it. You're going to hear, I've got 2 kids in your school, doesn't matter if one's in elementary or high school, and they're both in Hendry County school system.
I want to
So
talk
I think
about
we need to look at that.
the money flow. And so if this fee is generated for look, we'll just say I have a kid on the the tennis team. And it's generated, does that money stay with the tennis team's internal account, or does it go into like a general athletic fund?
The money would follow the student to the direct sport that the students participate in.
Okay.
What if they play 2 sports?
Yeah, or 3 sports, so you're gonna divide it by 3 and
Correct.
to each
Correct.
one.
Yeah.
And so is that, like, I don't know, 25, so, you know, we'll make my kid do 2, or maybe my kid does 4 sports, 3 sports, like, is that going to, like, even be impactful for each sport? Like, if you're getting like $14 or $15 for a kid?
Yeah, I think any funding at this point is helpful. I see what you're saying, it gets watered down over the more sports there is, but the point is not to be financially prohibitive to parents, you know, because we didn't want them to have to pay $50. We started out saying $50 per sport, and we said that, you know, even on, you know, people who are not struggling, that gets to be a lot. By the time they have to pay, especially if they got to pay for uniform and cleats and everything else, but yet offset, you know, the cost. And that's why even per school, because if you play, if you're wrestling, for example, you know, the very first wrestling match, because you got to have multiple referees for that. You know, they can't go past 1. And so if you're playing, you know, you got a child in each, there's an enormous amount of expense that goes along with that. And so, and we still, as a district, absorb a lot of that, like transportation and stuff. So if they had to pay for that, it wouldn't be possible. And so again, this is our mechanism that we're trying to put in place to help our coaches and families so they don't have to go out and fundraise so much. There still will be some of that. This is not going to alleviate that, but this will just help not, you know, just take some of that burden away.
Well, and it's like a first start. You can always adjust it.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, I think the impact first is, I got to pay to have my kid in sports. But I also think that if you got a kid in middle school and a kid in high school, I don't know, I think the family cap should be there for both of them. They shouldn't have to pay $50 and $50. So they have to lean in that direction on that. But I think this is a good start for the cost. I mean, there's no question how much the sports are costing.
Yeah, we would propose that we make that adjustment. That's in the capital process.
I've never signed my kid up for anything that didn't have a registration fee, ever, for anything.
Go buy a bat.
Sir, tournament fishing, thank you very
Go buy a
much.
rod. Go buy a rod and reel.
Thank you very much for that.
Do you have any other counties doing this?
Yeah, there's multiple counties in the state of Florida that assess these. Those are-
And $50 is reasonable between them, it's not really high.
Yeah.
It goes from 50, 75, some do go up to $200.
Yes, some are way more. Yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty widespread movement that's sweeping the state right now in an effort to try to, and we're all suffering the same thing. In fact, what really generated this with us was that last year, year before last, we got a letter from the Gulf Coast referee. I may be misrepresenting the exact name, and they basically said we're no longer coming to Hendry. By the time we meet, by the time we do what we have to do to get there, we're not even breaking even by the time, you know, the travel and all the expense along with it. And so we had to beg them, and they said, well, the only way we can is if we really up our prices.
So we pay more than coastal schools?
Oh, absolutely.
Please tell me that's a thing.
Absolutely. We pay a lot.
Because
Well, they got
We're
an
gonna talk
hour,
about
an
that
hour
later.
and 20 minutes in the car each way.
yeah, that's right.
So are we paying them by the hour, or are we paying them to do
We
the
paid
job?
but in 24-25, the state basically approved that if a referee has to travel within 50 miles, they don't get any extra payment. But if they travel between 50 and 75 miles, they get, the referees in charge per referee $10 more each way.
Yeah.
If they go above 75 miles, it's $20 each way.
Yeah, and that graphic if you want to see just the difference in between, in the short amount of time, the fees have almost doubled.
How much is a referee? How much referee? How much is one referee come?
Well, it's typically for the season, you pay the referee the official fees for the season, and you can see here, like, for example, LHS football in 2025, they paid official fees of $4,000. This past year, it went up $1,300. Right, so I just gave you little snippets.
I mean, like one person, one referee coming, he gets.
That's for all the referees,
Yeah.
for all the games.
We have to turn in, like, we turn the roster in, and then they assess us a fee for those 6 games, or not, whatever the amount of games are, times how many referees need to be here, So I don't know that we know what it is per referee, per trip or whatever, but, because they charge us kind of like a blanket cost.
So we're only paying $20 more for a referee to come out here than they would on the coast?
$20 each way for each referee.
So it's $40 per referee more for the poor rural inland non-coastal communities.
Yeah.
And that's a state
On top
statute?
of the basic fee, on top of the basic fee that's also.
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, I get that.
They elevated their own official fee.
And that state statute? We're gonna have to chat about that. Okay.
Well, penalized rural business.
I know other coaches in other districts that they don't even get any help from their boards. And so it's a blessing for our district to be able to financially help our sports out that way.
Paying that much, but I missed no calls.
We're gonna go to referee school, we're gonna side hustle.
Rev, I think we need to go referee and umpire games.
Better take them PBS classes first for the.
Yeah, I'm exactly the referee some of those parents deserve.
You haven't been there in a while. So unless you have any further questions, recommend your approval of action on 5D athletic fees proposed with the amendment of making it $50 per student, but 75 cap per family.
So, second.
Motion by Ms. Nelson, seconded by Mr. Sammerdeck. Do we have any other discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for that, Board. The next item is a personnel item, and this is a personnel recommendation for a FMLA, and I believe we have one board member that probably will sustain.
I will be abstaining. This is a relative of mine, so Mr.
All right.
Sammerdeck, this is your.
Action item number E, in the action items, a personnel recommendation from Mrs. Simmons.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I would like her to have her babies soon and some new grandbaby pictures. Thank you very much.
One more week, that was my birthday, it'll be all right.
Okay, all right, I'll let you have one more week, but we got stuff to do here, so we're on the timeline.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Board. The next item of business deals with our food service. Mr. Adams is going to talk to us a little bit about that and give you an update on where we are with the summer food service program. We have had some changes with our food service department, and it has caused a little bit of a conundrum with some of the things that we are doing. Mr. Adams is putting it back together, and we are going to carry out the summer feeding program. There will be some changes with regard to how we have done it in the past couple of years. It may lead to some twists and issues, and maybe we don't know yet, but nonetheless, Mr. Adams is doing a good job of keeping us compliant and working toward getting the food available for the people that need it the most. So I know if y'all have looked at the information, or if y'all want Mr. Adams to explain further.
Please give us the.
I gave you an overview, for sure. So, we've had some personnel changes, and in that process, we lost the person that had the training that the state requires for us to participate in the non-congregate feeding option. Now, what that means is that we cannot participate in the delivery or the advanced service of meals to students this summer. We tried to do everything that we could offer to take the training, but it was just not provided to us, and ultimately the answer from the state was no. And so therefore, Sodexo, myself, food service clerk, Ms. Emily, have worked together to produce a schedule that you see here tonight, and we've expanded some public sites. We're offering public feeding at both middle schools over the summer. And of course, we'll continue to service the students that participate in summer school and in the DPK summer school programs. So middle service will be provided there. We're also delivering to numerous request is with the intention to expand and transform our current food service program to the levels of all of our expectations. And I believe that by increasing the responsibilities, the requirements, the credentials, and the corresponding salary will deliver us with the person that's capable to help us and move in that direction.
How do they get those credentials? You're saying they don't have the credentials. How do you provide that for them?
The training.
Yes.
There's a one in-person training that's offered from the state that was incorporated into the rule from USDA. And you have to participate in person in January.
And our person that was trained, and we had it, but they left, and we knew we only had one, so now we're gonna do toward a redundant, so now we're gonna have more than one person trained, where if this happens again, we've got extra folks on staff.
No, when I looked at the calendar, I don't see any services for the month of July, and the first week in August, and June actually. So it'll take about 6 weeks without a summer meeting.
We do have several locations all the way through July.
All the way through July.
Yeah. Till the 24th.
July 24th.
Great. I must have read that wrong.
Some more, most outlying areas are not going to be getting food delivered that they are used to being delivered.
That is correct. We will see a massive reduction in health service.
Well, I'm gonna have some people not happy about that.
So, loopholes.
We just need some.
Turn the mic off. Could somebody, let's say at Pioneer Center, a representative come into town and pick up set amount of meals and,
Child has to be present, and they have to eat on site.
This is, and I'm with every one of you, and to describe this in our constituents' terms, this is government at its finest. It's not what we want, it's not what you want, but these are the standards that we're held to.
have we reached out to our congressperson?
Mr. Swindle and I both have attempted to make contact with, initially, it was the chief of this USDA program. I had to get involved because of how persistent I was in trying to get a different answer.
Well, I have to believe that Mr. Adams did his best to rectify the situation. Sorry that it's the way it is, though.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate to our community, and we will also see that there can be difference. But I've already looked at the numbers whenever we had congregate feeding versus the non-congregate that we did last year. There's about a 400% difference.
Well, what is the chances that we can go ahead and do whatever training needs to be done and get it done over the summer and pick this program up before the summer is over? Is that
The next training and the only training available is in January. And there will be multiple people from Hendry participating.
We've tried January. So
January?
he tried, that was his first, he said, no problem, I'll do it. And I said, well, you can't get it until January. So we're willing to do it.
There's nobody else that does that training
Where
anywhere?
it's not. And the training that they provide is a recorded webinar that is also online. And I said I would watch it, train it, verify that I watched it. Said we will pay somebody to come down and train, somebody in Hendry to manage this. We will travel to you to participate in the training, and the answer is no.
All the way around?
Yes.
Has anyone made, my question is, has anybody made contact with Congressman Franklin's office about this?
I don't know.
Can we, one last Hail Mary on this one? I'll give you some contacts there.
Glad to, or reach out for you.
Or reach out,
on your
like,
behalf
yeah.
and say, hey, this is
Yeah,
what
it's
we're
like,
up
this is
against.
not cool,
And you
and,
give us some leverage here.
yeah, I mean, they can help with things like that, so. Let's link up on that one, and at least,
Hopefully that'll help. Worst case scenario, there will be food spots available throughout the county, not the exact same spots. And there will be some food available, some people may have to travel.
like,
You know, I know that's a barrier.
economy.
That's,
We
yeah,
have-
that's the biggest problem
$5 a gallon.
is the
Yeah.
travel
Yeah.
part of it.
Right here.
I agree with all of you, and I have the same concerns.
I know the
kids
But
that are
as far
hungry.
as providing the feeding services, we're doing so in the best of our ability.
I've seen the lines so long for children in line to eat. And now you tell me not gonna be a line at all. It's, you know why? Did they tell you why?
Because we did watch.
Our guy
We didn't
left, the guy left, the one person who had the training, who watched the one person at the training quit. And then now we have
So all these
no
people
training,
are gonna
and
be
and
hungry
they don't, and they won't let somebody watch a webinar. Cause that's, yeah.
It's not even a real.
So,
I wonder, this
We're
street.
going to Mar-a-Lago, let's go.
Does the,
You know
does
this?
the street bus?
We're
service
going.
come here? In a county, Hendry County stream bus, I know they come to Felda. Could they pick up families and transport them to Lavelle or to another site? So that they can.
I don't know what they're.
I mean, that might be
I don't know
something
what
to
they're,
look into, the Hendry County stream program.
they do go all over the county. I know, I see them all over the
And I
county.
know they go to Felda, I just don't know if that's something they would do, if they could pick up families and take
They-
children.
You have to call and organize that, but I don't know if you're gonna do that every.
You have to register kids to get that food. Like, how do you say, how do you verify that a kid came there in person? Because the kid's not flashing an ID.
It is open, the public sites are open to children under 18.
Okay, but how do they verify that the actual child showed up?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Who's verifying?
Do they take attendance? Like if I
Yeah,
came
like-
in and I had 4 little
Yes.
kids that are not in our school system yet, that's, how do they verify that they got meals?
Whenever they go through the service line, they check how many meals were provided, and that's how we can reimburse them.
Yeah, she's looking for a loophole. I know what she's after there because they're not in our system. So, I mean, they just
You're not
say,
checking IDs, you're not
check, we
seeing
had
school
6 kids
IDs.
come through that are the age of 2.5 or 3 that aren't in our system. That's what she's asking about and trying to,
I mean, that's how he is viewing it, but
she's ducking and dodging. I like the way she's ducking over there.
it's his interpretation of the situation.
But all I can say officially is that the meals served are provided to students under 18 and they're accounted for.
We need to meet afterwards.
thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams is doing his best to keep us compliant in alcohol order and have to pay for it ourselves and not get reimbursed, basically, what happens.
I get that.
Yep.
We appreciate you, Mr. Adams. All right, so that's just some information for us. We don't need any approval for that.
I don't believe so. I think that was an FYI.
No, we needed.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is, it's the schedule. You're basically approving the schedule is what it is, and my apologies.
We need a recommendation.
I recommend to approve action item 5E, the summer food service program as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shammerdyke, seconded by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any other discussion?
What would happen if we didn't approve it? We're saying like, this is not acceptable from the government, we need your help. I mean, would they just be like, we're not feeding anybody?
Probably so.
Essentially, yes.
Oh,
So-
Lord
So we had to
Jesus.
have this schedule approved in order for us to move forward and advertise and to provide on-site meals at all.
The guy that quit, he gone, the guy that's quit.
I would-
He gone, the one that quit.
I would certainly recommend that we approve this tonight and move forward with this, and if we want to go back and readdress it and try to get some more leverage and help to move back to where we were, then we can address that. At the very least, we could do what we have in front of us this evening.
So the person that was, I do have one other call, the person that was trained for this is gone. So what is allowing us to do it at these other sites? That's not our schools. What is allowing
I
that?
participated and took the necessary courses through the summer feed service program and enlisted myself as the administrator of that.
Okay.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item 5G, sir.
Thank you, Board. Action on 5G. So early on in the conversation, when we were getting ready to start the LaBelle High School project, we were getting a lot of advice and a lot of directions and a lot of things happening. And we originally talked about hiring someone to be basically a manager of the construction, if you will. Mr. Busey and I have said several times, and really there's no one in this district today that has done a construction project. And so we know there's things we didn't know. We know there's still today, we know there's things we don't know. But what has come to our attention that, especially after what we have gone through for basically the architectural piece of this, had we have had somebody on board that would have recognized red flags and intervened in ways that would have been more beneficial to us early on, we might not have, potentially would not have wound up where we are and would have been much further ahead of schedule. And so what we're proposing is to move forward tonight with an owner's consultant, an owner's representative, and this person basically is going to take the lead with regard to managing the contracts of the Owens A. Kimball, managing the contract of the architect, keeping up with the workflow, keeping up with the quality control to ensure things are happening in a timely manner, and to kind of be the one to take care of a lot of that minutia that Mr. Busey was juggling, as well as then raise the red flag when something doesn't happen on time, if something doesn't happen to the correct quality, and that person would be the one to do that for us. The money will come through the special facilities, and in fact, Owens A. Kimball is using a consultant now, and when we did the RFP, the consultant applied for the position and sorted at the top, and so essentially we're proposing to utilize that person, and then we will then utilize the funding from Owens A. Kimball, not through our general fund. So having given you all that information, we're asking you to approve action item 5G, which is to award the owner's representative to Pathway Project Consulting. They did sort out very handily in the RFP process, and we have a contract with them that we'll bring back to you as well, because I don't think the contract is attached to this. But we do have their contract, and we'll bring that back to you at the next board meeting for approval.
What is the compensation for this?
In there is basically an hourly compensation, and so it's not a set fee, but it's an hourly compensation fee. So if there's months when it's just kind of homework, and they're not having to come here a lot, and it's just keeping up with things, it'll be on an hourly basis.
Where is Pathways Project Consulting based out of?
He's in Alachua County in Newberry.
Okay. And is there a cap on how much we're willing to spend? Like up to a contract, up to, like, so we just kind of have an idea, like I want to know what the financial ceiling is on this.
And bear in mind, basically, again, the contract itself with that information is forthcoming. We're working on that and getting that vetted now, and we'll bring that back to you in the June board meeting. So that will give you a chance to get that information and ask that information. This is just simply approving the RFP so we can move forward with the contract and get that in place and do those
I
negotiations.
kind of want to know what a price range is before I say, like what a ceiling would be on that, before I said, yeah, let's proceed into, further, other than looking at Mr. Busey and going, just work harder.
Yeah.
You're
right.
welcome.
Yeah.
I agree. I'd like to see a contract with some stipulations in there with finances. What are we talking about? I mean, hours, how many hours? I understand an hourly rate. In my personal business, I prefer to do an hourly rate. It benefits me and my customer,
Right.
because I can give them an estimate. It could be high.
Sure.
So I don't want to take advantage of it that way. But at the same time,
Right. And again, tonight, just bear in mind, all I'm asking you to do is approve the RFP process so that we can move forward with that negotiation and bring you that back in the June
So
meeting.
we're not approving the actual contract itself
Correct,
right
that's
now. They're not hired as our,
Right. This is
so the
just,
contract is approved.
that's right. They will be approved for us to move forward. You're accepting that, and then we can go back to the negotiation table with that.
All right, that's good.
And Ms. Tanner still hasn't, I don't believe we think we may have sent it to her, but we've not vetted through it to make sure that it's acceptable and stuff. So we still have to do that yet. And I'm hearing when you come back, you want to hear, what would a ceiling be, and then the hourly rates, and I know that information's there.
Yeah, the hourly rates, and who's dictating the hours that they're working? For what reasons?
Verifying that.
Yeah.
Because now I'm all paranoid and mad. After the situation with the architect, like, what we-
We certainly, we have notes for that. We'll make sure those are addressed when you get that back in June, the actual contract itself.
Yes, their mileage included in there, that's a good point.
Yeah, yeah, there's travel, there's definitely travel fees and things like that in the contract.
Should be in the contract.
Should be in the contract.
It is.
All right, good.
So anyway, with that in mind, I would ask your approval of action item 5G.
So moved.
Second. All right, motion by Mr. Samrite, seconded by Reverend Brown. Do you have any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we will move on to old business. New LHS updates.
Yep, distribution is going to give you an overview of where we were, or where we are. And y'all
Y'all
all
leave
there.
for grace. They've been working since the end of March. They have been diligently working, vetting the plans, scrubbing through the plans to make sure that everything is kosher on them, to making sure that they're going to work for us. They're finding a lot of different areas where we have to make some changes on. They have been superstars in my eyes because of the work they're doing in a timely manner. It's been, what, 60 days? And they're about ready to, probably the next couple of weeks or so, give us our stamp of approval on the plans from Grace. So that's going to get us moving. And we're working on, they're also, while they're scrubbing through the plans, they're also doing very important RFIs. They're going through the plans and looking at the structural steel and approving that. And we're working on some submittals on some of our big projects like our switchgear, our generator, multiple other different things. So we have like a hot list for him, and he's doing that while they're scrubbing through the plans to get the stamp of approval. So Grace has been great for us. Brian. OAK has been troopers along with us right now. Right now, we are at the central utility plant building. We had cement block walls. It started on Monday. When I was there on Friday, they only had a few more tiers to go, so they're probably done. I did not go there today. They should be getting the structural steel for the CPU this week. Trusses in the next 3 or 4 days after the structural steel's up. We'll have a rough-in, dry-in roof during the first week of June. And the central utility plant is, that's where our chiller is going to be, that's where our electricity is going to be coming in. That's going to be our mechanical building. They're still doing all the underground electrical throughout the main building. I believe when I was there at the end of last week, we were moving into the office building. So we're through the gym, we're through the cafeteria, we're down the hallway, and we're moving into the front office buildings. So we only have the office buildings to do for that, and then also through the auditorium. So we're moving right along. Nani has been a great subcontractor for us. They've been plowing through the whole time. And during the meantime, they're making the casting beds for our tilt walls. They're making the casting beds like probably 40 yards away from where the tilt walls go up. So they'll make the casting bed, level it out, pour the wall, and then they'll tilt it back up and put our outside walls in. And I think the only thing I have left is we should be getting some answers from at the end of by the end of the month, whether we're going to get our last payment that we asked for. So hopefully that is, cross your fingers and see what we can get from the state. Any other questions, thoughts, or concerns from Mr. Samurai?
The company that we contract with for other, not the new high school, but the other schools, have you utilized them lately for any roofs or AC or leaks or anything?
You mean architecture? you mean?
No,
Clyde Johnson.
Clyde Johnson. Have we had to utilize them?
At the new high school?
No, not at the new high school, any place else.
I use our vendors tremendously. I mean, all the time. All our vendors, I get work, all of them, they have work.
Have we had leaking roofs?
Pardon?
Have we had leaking, is that what you're asking? Have we
Yeah.
had leaking roofs?
I still didn't hear you.
Have we had leaking roofs?
That I know. We had a drain roof over there the day that we fixed, but nothing major. Our roofs are in pretty good shape right now that I know.
So
on
you-
both sides.
So how much work have they had to do recently, Clyde Johnson? You say, I call them all the time. So how much work are they doing?
Well, a lot of cement for us right in the past, recently in the past. We caught up on our roofs during the ESSER 3 money. So, it's at
Well,
the
in the last
end.
few weeks.
It's at the end. snow boots in the last 3 weeks. It's at the end of the funding cycle, sir, so I have to wait for new money to do a couple things in July.
So Brian Johnson has not been doing any work in the schools in the last few weeks.
We have other projects that we've been working on.
Well, I'm sorry, what are the projects?
We're working on the Kane Field bleacher section. We're working with Rich and Patrick on that right now. We're working with Jonathan on a few remodels of the back portables.
I know they responded to 2 pipe bursts in Wilson High School cafeteria.
That was a couple months ago, yes, but I'm trying to think about what we're doing with them right now, this past.
I did ask.
But that's what we're doing right now with them right now.
Is there a reason?
Well, because Mr. Buse has been very busy with the high school, but we have these other companies that are coming in and doing work. But we get no notification from the board what is going on in the other schools anymore. So that's my point. I want to know what's going on in the other schools and are we having big expenses and stuff like that? I'd like to know what's going on. I don't think that's an unreasonable
Do
question.
you approve our POs? Do you approve our checks that we pay?
I'm not asking that. I'm asking you what kind of work they're doing. I've asked you that 4 or 5 times now. That's all I'm asking.
I'm sorry if I did not answer your question correctly, sir.
So I just wanted to know what's going on in our schools. Yeah, we have to
an
contact.
update, like a status
Yeah.
update?
Like a
We
maintenance
used to do that all the
update or
time.
a project update or?
I think right now
We
he's
have a lot.
focused on the high school.
We have a
We
lot.
still have all this stuff.
Oh, we haven't stopped anything in the other
We're
schoolhouse.
still getting it done.
We're still doing our maintenances. We're working on all of our schoolhouses with at least 3 rooms for our summer projects. We just opened up some money and some, for the new year for a couple future projects that we're doing. We have, we're running as usual. With our ears pinned back and making things happen.
And unfortunately, the maintenance department spends a lot of time triaging, if you will, right? I mean, they can have the best laid plans, but when a pipe bursts, they stop and they divert to that. But it's just, I would call that the normal minutia of their job.
Sure.
So I was unaware you wanted a reporter at asking that. I didn't.
We got contractors coming in and doing work. I'd just like to know
Yeah.
basically what they're doing.
Okay. And a lot of times they're doing the same
I mean,
thing.
that is the function of the school board, is to find out what's going on, make sure it's moving smoothly.
Okay.
I mean, we're spending a lot of time on the high school that got kicked back 5 months. I just wonder what's going on in our other schools.
Yeah.
We had some of our major projects that we did this year. We have our rubber track in Lewiston.
Oh,
We did
so
update
it's
the
great.
pickleball courts at the Lewiston High School and the tennis courts and the basketball courts. We're along with 3 different rooms per school at least, painted and carpeting.
See, that's what I was asking. That's a
But
thing.
that's like our everyday stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
We consider that everyday maintenance.
And that's my job every day.
Yes.
I think.
And again, to go back to our footprint of our fleet of buildings is incredibly old.
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot, and then plus you got 7,300 students in them every day. And so on top of the aging footprint, the wear and tear that they get. That it,
2 brand new playgrounds over here this year. Known about that.
I just
I
want
can
to
make
know.
you a list of all the major
I
things
think
that
that's
we've
great
done.
information, but I was not aware of it until you just told me.
Is there like a project list for, not like everyday maintenance, like, hey, we got an outlet here or anything like that, but like a major, is that something that you're like looking at, Mr. Sammerlight, like a project
Yeah, I
list?
just wonder what's going on, make sure we're able to maintain everything. And we contract a lot, just wanted to know what's going on. I think that's a question.
You don't want everything focused on the new high school, make sure everything is
That's
still
right.
going like it should in the other schools. I get it.
and we have, and our staff, the new high school is being constructed by a completely outside source. So our staff and our funding for what we do has not changed at all. We're maintaining and doing improvement projects or repair projects as we've always done. That has not changed at all.
I'm not on campus 24/7 during the week. I'm in our schoolhouses working our maintenance department. We have not skirted our responsibility on our schoolhouses with this new building. I
I
can,
wasn't implying that. I He said I wasn't implying that. I was just asking what was going on. So,
I mean, there's been a time when we had, capital outlay project list of those items that were being worked on. And it didn't get down to the plumbing thing, but the major project, you see that list, we know he checking off, we're all with that may help.
And we had, I don't recall ever having one though.
Well, the point, I've been here a long while.
that's right.
Yeah. But we should have that listed with one sheet, they would check off all the ones.
Like a capital project?
Right, some major thing done, yeah, but all the little stuff like, when I hear now, that wouldn't be on there, just the big projects. Yeah, that may help.
We do have multiple year
Lot of
plans
work.
and capital projects, things that we can certainly provide.
And then with our cap of 50,000, we have to approve everything that we spend over $50,000.
Yeah.
And then we have to go out for bid for everything that's over a certain amount of money. So
It wasn't
you get
small,
approval on all
it
that.
was big things. Yeah.
Anything over 50, we have to, purchase orders.
Anything else?
Number 10 to 45, we have to go out for bid after 50.
We can move it.
Don't get excited over there, sir. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Houston.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Anybody have any other questions about the LHS updates? All right. So we'll move on to attorney updates. Madam Attorney, do you have anything for us to?
Nothing apart from what you've already heard tonight. I'm reviewing the owner's representative agreement and also finalizing the contract with Grace Designs. We're going to have a meeting with some district staff to go over the compensation plan for Grace and other aspects of the contract, and then both of those will be before the board in June. Nothing else.
All right. So we'll move on to board member business. Mr. Swindle, do you have anything?
I do have just a couple things that I would like to make sure you guys are aware of. Again, I just wanted to just say it one more time because I'm incredibly proud of the fact that Hendry County Schools is leading the charge for self-insured and then the risk-sharing pool that we're doing. This model has taken off across the state, and there's an enormous amount of districts going to it, and it's being a game changer. We can't do much about the money we don't get that we need, but we can do what we can do about controlling our own expenses. And this has proven to be one of those situations, and we're very, very, very proud of that. At the next board meeting, the June board meeting is June 16th?
Yes.
June 16th. At the June 16th board meeting, I will not be present. I will be coming back from the same exact trip that Mr. Simmerdike just returned off of last night. Dr. Staley and team will be running that one, so I encourage y'all to give her all the havoc y'all can. And prepare for that. So she likes it. She likes it when y'all do that. So.
Making a note of that.
I know you are.
So at that, there's one of the things that we're doing, and we still have a lot of work to do to get there, but our goal is to be able to bring this to you at the June board meeting. I just want to give you a heads up about it so y'all can be thinking about it, and if you have questions, please ask, between now and then. Part of the plan when you're self-insured is to do everything you can to keep your staff healthy. We want a healthy staff. We want to make sure that we have healthy people and doing everything we can proactively to keep people healthy. One of the things that we are looking at right now, and being a part of Fleet, they are driving this for us as well, is to have a dedicated Hendry County Schools clinic. And at this clinic, it'll be a clinic for our people that we have, that you will have access to. And what we want is we want our people to go there. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to pay a said fee for it. And so our employees are going to go there for nothing, no copay, no fee out of pocket. The goal of that is, if you think about the number of, when you go to the doctor, most of the time, oh, I'm aching here, I'm hurting here, okay, we'll try this. But in the meanwhile, we're paying a very high fee for that to the doctor. If we can circumvent a giant percentage of that through a contracted basis, then that's going to take a lot more money off of what we're paying monthly to doctor fees. And so this is an effort, number one, to give our employees a quick, fast access medical care, and number two, cut down on more costs that we're paying out of pocket. At the next meeting, the goal is to have two in front of you an approval of a clinic provider for Hendry County Schools. So we want to be able to get that approved and roll that out with the beginning of the school year, or as close to the beginning of the school year as possible. So again, there's a few districts around the state that have these, but again, this is definitely odd, you know, and rare and cutting edge of what we are doing in Hendry to be able to provide this for our employees. So
How are the providers going to be chosen?
it's an RFP. They started off with an RFQ, and they had 4 major participants. And yesterday and today, the fleet team is vetting who are they qualified. Do they have qualified staff? Do they have qualified credentials, backgrounds? Are they financially stable enough to provide a clinic? And they're going through it from a medical large statewide type of a lens, and then they're going to come back.
So people from, is it local people choosing providers that would work for in Hendry County School District?
It will be, yes. So
Okay,
what they're
who's
doing,
on that team?
they're going to look at the qualified folks, and then they're going to rank them. And then they're going to bring back to our local, they're going to come back to Hendry County Schools. It'll have to go through the insurance committee, and the insurance committee will look and vote, if you will, and then ultimately this board will wind up voting on who
Okay,
that
so
provider is.
non-Hendry County people are going to determine who's qualified, and it's going to come to, they're going to choose one person, and it's going to come to the insurance.
No, they're going to rank them. So they will give a ranking.
Rank.
So as long as they meet the qualifications that they can provide a clinic, then they will rank them. Here's the 4. They all 4 qualified, but here's based on their background, their business, and what we believe. Here's how we would rank them. Now here, Hendry, you make the decision on what you want. So ultimately, again, the insurance committee will look at those and take the first bite, and then it will come to you to either support their decision or not. So
What does a set fee look like for?
it's going to be a per employee per month fee, and that's part of what the RFP is going to be. We expect it to be a lot. You know, we expect it to be several $100,000, but it doesn't have to. You don't have to see many patients at what we pay per month to buy down several $100,000 in
Okay, so
fees.
when you presented to us, I would like to see like what the set fee would be versus what we historically pay like per month,
Yep.
like an average there.
Sure.
And the insurance committee, like the same people, we have representation from our teachers, administration, like we have stakeholders
Yes.
from every single
Correct.
part of it.
Correct.
Now, when you say clinic, explain this to me.
It'll be a
Like
site.
Sniffles and Band-Aid?
Yes, why do you go to the doctor, right? You hurt, or I just need my blood work done. I need, you know, I'm having a little pain here. You know, can you check that? So it's the same reason you would go to a doctor. What we're going to do is our intent of this is to change the behavioral analytics of our people to say, I need to go to the Hendry County Clinic, Hendry County Schools Clinic, and go there to get the medical attention or questions to whatever is bothering you at that point in
And then
time.
from there, if you need a specialist, they would
That's correct.
refer you out
Yeah,
to
same
see
thing.
the regular.
Same exact thing. That is correct. Yes.
How
right.
many sites do you think we're gonna have?
My goal is to be able to service employees on both sides of the district. Is that going to be 2 full-time sites, or is it going to be 2 part-time sites? We don't know that yet. Again, that's going to depend on the applicants and what they have presented to us and what they can do.
Okay, so we have this, let's be all theoretical here, we have it in place, and then, you know me, I'm salty.
That, I'm not sure it's medically,
You're like, I don't wanna use it.
I'm not sure they can cure that though.
Well, we're gonna need some very, very, highly qualified specialists for that. But say, I'm salty, I don't wanna use it. That's not gonna keep me from going to see my provider of my choice.
That's
Not
correct,
gonna-
right. The goal is not to keep you from going to who you want to. The goal is to drive you to this as a fast means and a cost savings measure for the district.
Okay, and if I have family coverage, are family members able to use the plan?
There, we intend to have a family option available, right? Yes. And so.
What is that, what do you mean option? Like-
So right now, so it's going to be basically an additional fee, based on top of what we're paying. And so we do anticipate there being, so you want to add, you know, your spouse that doesn't work for the district. So it'll probably be an additional fee that you would pay for that spouse to come on board. Just like family coverage if you had the medical insurance coverage otherwise. So,
So it wouldn't really like be any financial incentive to not go outside with the kids or the, like so my kids are on that insurance. I would have to still pay, I would have to pay a copay for them on top of the insurance premiums I pay for them.
I don't have that in front of me yet, but yeah, the early discussions was yes, because we're paying for our employees. Any souls you add, there has to be a fee collected with that, so that to pay for that. But the big piece of it is convenience, express rather than waiting an hour in a doctor's office. You're going to be seen within minutes or less, and get that build the healthy attitudes is what we want. Drive people there so that drive them. When I say drive them there, build the behavioral piece of them that I need to get my blood work done. It doesn't cost me anything. I can go do it real quick, and it's better for the district. I'm healthier, and that behavior will then in turn buy down more of the costs that we're paying out monthly, to medical doctors. I love my new doctor that replaced Dr. Kaki, right? But there's a said fee with that, and so if I can,
So we're gonna require them to have a facility on each end of the county? They're gonna have a mobile unit?
yeah. No, it'll be a
a
facility, right? And either they'll have it or we'll negotiate where we provide pieces of it. We don't know yet. That's still one of the things that we have to work out. Some of the districts use portables. And so you take a portable that, you wall off, the front's reception and the back's where the doctor is. Type thing. So there's all kind of options that we can do. And I want to do it as cheaply as we can, obviously.
So we'll require them to be 5 days a week, 6 days a week, because, people don't want to get sick on Monday through
Right.
Friday. Saturday morning they wake up, whether it's a hangover or a kidney stone, who knows?
So you know about that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the hours, the operations, all those things will come forward, when we hone down on a set provider.
right, okay.
Medical confidentiality.
Yeah, of course.
So I went to the doctor or something. The board can't call this. Why was he there? Was he that sick?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
that just, wait a minute, took a sick day or.
Well, and to that point, I told you today, we have 4 people that's driving 52% of our expenses.
Yeah.
But I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And nor will they tell me, because I asked. And I only asked because we wanted to provide, what can we provide extra for them? They need more time off, do we need to get them, but they said, no, we're not going there, that's FERPA, and you can't find that out.
So that's what happened with our self-insurance before. So
Yeah.
we had a couple of big ones
Yeah.
way back in the 90s.
Yeah.
We do it.
Yep, because y'all didn't have risk sharing.
We did not have risk
That's
sharing.
right.
That's correct.
That's right. All right. There's a lot of questions, that's why I wanted to bring it to you today. I know this board likes to have as much notice as you can. And I'm trying to give it to you now, and as we get more information, we will continue to pass that on to you. And if you have more questions, by all means, please call, because this will be a game changer again for something that we offer that's very unique, to a school district. And so I'm very, very proud of it, and proud that we're hopefully going to be able to pull it across the finish line. So
You like trying new things.
I do. This group out here hates the way that I like change, but I like change.
Rest of them,
Yes, I really like change, but that's just me.
A lot of them paid off. I will give you
Well,
credit where credit is due.
Speaking of which, thank you for saying that, because that's where we're going next with what I want to present to you. We are getting a lot of our academic data back right now. It's still in raw form, and so I don't want to share the data itself with you because it's still tweaking and changing and clarifying. However, what I will share with you is this time last year we had the most academic growth and highest achievement that we had seen in Hendry County Schools history. Today, the data looks even better than it did last year. And so we're very, very pleased, we're very happy, we're very excited. There's still testing to be done, but the indicators that are coming in is that we're once again going to exceed last year's goals, that were met. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of our students. We have proven that students from a rural, poverty-stricken, not many opportunity community that are ELL and that live in tough situations still can come to school and learn and be high-achieving schools. And we're very proud of that. We're proud of the fact that we're a district that has struggled with a lot of things. We don't have a lot of shopping. We don't have a lot of things to draw people here, but the staff that we have stepped up in ways that we've never seen before. and the scores and the academic achievement we're seeing is off the charts for Hendry County schools. So you're going to be very impressed and blown away with that. And every school, even our online partners with the AOF, is just showing massive academic growth. We're very excited that we will continue to bleed that information to you as we get it. You get that before, but at that board meeting in June, you'll probably have, hopefully by then, the officials that Ms. Duncan and Mr. Sanchez can present to you to share that with you. But hopefully well before that, we'll have it out and have it public. So I'm very proud. A lot of it is 100% because of the changes that we made collectively. This team has been very malleable. They have brought some great ideas. You guys have supported the half-day PDs. You guys have supported a lot of stuff that we've done, a lot of the coaching mechanisms, everything down to tonight. Being able to put some behavior techs in schools is going to, again, put our leaders and teachers in a position where they can do more of their job and have to deal with less of those things. So thank you for the support that y'all have given us. We have done a lot of the outside of the box things. We have driven academics. The expectations that we have, it's high. Our people are gassed because they have worked hard. Our leaders are gassed, our teachers are gassed, but they have done a phenomenal job for us. And we're gonna reap the benefits of that here, in the next, I think by Friday. I think all testing's finished by Friday, right? So by this Friday and early next week, we should have most of the preliminary results, and we hope to share that with you. But we're gonna, again, having a lot of celebration, a lot. So.
And I didn't even know I was setting it up, man.
No, you did good. What else you want to talk about?
I swear we didn't talk before we made
Yeah.
the promise. That wasn't the intention.
Yep.
And it smells like an A district coming to me.
Well, I'm not gonna promise that, but it's definitely growth, and growth is always good. Never before, has Hendry County Schools seen the highest academic standards and achievements that we're seeing right now. And so I think that's something that we all should be proud of. The work that's come out of the folks in front of us and the support that you guys have provided. We can hang our hat on it, and I'm very proud of it.
Do you think that's in part too, because I listened to the argument about, we were doing once a year standardized testing, which is like a screenshot of one kid's performance each day. And so do you think this progress monitoring model with the 3 p.m. Encourage that growth? I mean, do you think that
I think that there's a lot that contributed to this success. I do believe that is one of the things that did. Many of our schools were using a similar tool to that all along anyway, but some of the schools were not. And so being able to look at real-time data, I ran in 2020 on the fact that we were going to utilize data to drive our district to a better place. We used the data from those PMs to make necessary changes, adjustments. Sometimes it's a, adjustment to the way a teacher's teaching. Sometimes it's where a teacher is. They don't need to be there. So we have used that data to drive massive changes in this district. So yes,
getting it back in a timely manner to be able to make those adjustments.
It's real time.
And
so
it's a double-edged sword because you're testing the kids like 3 times
Yeah.
more, which is like,
Yep.
then you're actually getting useful data.
Right. How we teach has changed. We have changed how we teach, and we're going to continue to change how we teach. We're looking now at a lot of information about the hazards of too much screen time, especially that K-2. And so we're going to continue to reduce that. Good old-fashioned teaching in a classroom where your lessons are aligned to a standard, and then the leadership is, ensuring that that's happening is the key. It's just good old-fashioned teaching and learning. So I'm very proud of it, and I know you guys are as well. And again, you're going to start hearing a lot of roaring at the schools here shortly when all this stuff starts hitting, and we're very excited for it. So if you see a teacher or someone from one of the schools, please tell them thank you. I've been going to the schools and giving the disclaimer. I know it's inappropriate, but I hug the principals anyway because they deserve it. So thank you for that. And with that, that's all I have.
It's about time.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm way over. Way over.
Where's that 10-minute limit on this?
I didn't realize
I feel very victimized.
Superintendent's exempt.
I slipped up this piece, my apologies.
Noted.
Your protege over here is well. You took up all my time. Mr. Sammerdyke?
Well, just to follow along a little bit, I see it in the schools. When I walk into the schools, I see the relationship between the teachers and the kids, the students, and whether it's at the high school or one of the elementary schools. There's just great feelings going on. I mean, I know we have some issues with some discipline issues. I don't see that when I'm walking through the hallways. I don't see it in the office. I mean, times have changed here in our schools and stuff like that. People are working hard, but the relationship between the students and the teachers and the administration, they're like a team. They're working very hard. I'm just very happy with what I go into schools. It's a changed world in the last couple of years.
You can see it. That's awesome.
I can feel it. That's right.
Good.
That's it. It's great. Absolutely. That's what I got.
Awesome. Ms. Nelson?
Just let's clarify graduation. This Friday, what time do we need to be at?
I've not been given an exact time.
6:15.
At the middle school cafeteria. Okay.
Park around that.
Yeah.
Okay,
What do you think?
All right, further around back.
Yep.
thank you.
All right. Reverend Brown, do you have anything, sir?
No, only question I have is, when you pass out board out here, how fast, to check what time I start, encourage, but I can't read it because it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Would be the
Slow it
changing.
down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just slow it
Scroll.
down. Yeah.
Okay.
Slow.
Can we slow the changing, the scroll on the board? Can y'all adjust the timing?
Oh, on the sign?
Yeah.
We can look into it.
Okay.
And some of that too is like, they put the whole flyer up there, and that's like well, I call it the 60 mile, it shouldn't be 60 mile an hour, but like a 60 mile an hour message. But like, no, that's like an advertising, and like you have the 60 mile an hour, the 45 mile an hour, and like the 30 mile an hour. And so maybe like, it looks good, but I'm right there with you, like I can't read like the message on it. So maybe like focus on like the actual message and like make it like a billboard. You don't have everything on a billboard. A billboard's not busy, and that's exactly what that is.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like the message is readable. But other than that, I don't really have anything. Had some, a lot of school visits and going and a lot of the end of the year celebrations and ceremonies. I want to share. I had a big time. I love when we can embed like civics and education. And Mr. Nicholson from Country Oaks had his kids do a project at, they determined that they did the research, LaBelle did not have an official bird. And so they took it upon themselves to do an art contest. The kids got up there, they went and visited the LaBelle City Commission, made them aware that they did not have an official bird. We presented some options for them and asked them to choose one of the birds. And just saying, we may have some future lobbyists there. They were very effective. The commission was putty in their hands. And
What is that word?
it is the cattle egret, also known as the cowbird.
Oh, that's great.
Mr. Nicholson really wanted the buzzard.
They did, he really did want it. And then the kids chose the red-shouldered hawk, but I was like, buddy, like, you had to put out, if that's the way you wanted to do it, you had to tell them this is exactly what I want from you guys. You left the decision up to them, and they made a decision you didn't like, so next time. But it was cute, it was a fun little exercise, and I know the commission liked it just as much as the kids, so. But I'm looking forward to graduation, and then I'm gonna reserve my comments and observations on the last graduation ceremony to get everything together and provide some feedback on some perceptions and things that I would like to see going forward. But that concludes my comments.
All right. So I'm hearing you and Reverend Brown distracted drivers.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a wreck.
Listen, you don't want me doing PBIS, you don't want me driving school bus.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming. This meeting is adjourned.